Are you ready?
I was born ready.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 24 of the Stock Guy and Alex Show. This is the podcast covering topics around the world, business, news, markets, money, and sports. If people are talking about it, then so are we. The Stock Guy and Alex Show can be watched, listened, and viewed on YouTube and Spotify, guys. Follow the show on all the socials, Twitter, Insta, LinkedIn, everything like that. Yo, Stocky, what's up, dude?
Yo, what's up, Cornhusker?
What's up, dude? I got my Pride of Nebraska shirt on right now.
The only people I remember from Nebraska was Eric Crouch. It's the only player I ever remember that ever played there.
Yeah,
that was it. That was it.
He did very,
I remember
very
him
good
and,
things.
and Ron Dane at Wisconsin. Like, that was the last time I followed like college football big time, was when those guys were playing.
Do you remember what year Ron Dane was?
God, that had to be what, 2002?
99.
Oh my God, am I that old?
Ron Dane won the Heisman Trophy in 1999. Eric Crouch won it in 2001. So yeah, I mean, that's a minute ago, man. It's 20 years ago of college football that you're talking about.
Jesus, man, that's getting old. I mean, the reason I was following it back then was because, obviously, you know, high school, I was looking for colleges to go to. I was planning on going to East Carolina University. Big fan of David Garrard. And I remember, like, that was the last time I followed college football. After that, because I didn't go to a college and I didn't, like, grow up around college football, like, it wasn't, like, a thing for me. Like, I didn't watch it. And then I watched NFL, and even that I'm kind of falling off on. Like, I haven't done any research into the Jags, you know, draft this year, and I don't even keep up that much like I used to. So it is what it is, but, you know.
College football's become very regional. So like the Midwest and the Southeast are kind of, and like the South, they're like the only really regions that care.
Well, Florida's all kinds of messed up when it comes to sports. Like, when it comes to college, you have your Gators, you have your Florida State, you have your Miami, and then now you have your Central Florida people. And then because all of a sudden after they did really well, and when Bortles was there, it was good. And then when it comes to college, you have NFL, you have your Dolphins die hard, and then you have now you have Tampa Bay after they won in 2005, and now with Brady, and then there's another team somewhere in the state that I forgot about. They have an NFL team somewhere up, I think it's up north, but yeah. So it's just all regional, but it is what it is.
UCF has the largest student body of any school in the country.
Not true. I went to Miami-Dade College. They're the largest student body, but they are not a 4-year, accredited university. That the Miami-Dade College, though, has the largest student base of any college in America.
I thought UCF has like 50 to 60,000 kids, and it was tops.
I mean, I think like I said, maybe like top for like universities or whatever, but I don't think it doesn't matter. Whatever. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing incredible, man.
I was just practicing my my photoshopping and whatever. I was trying to help you guys out with a new logo. So I'm sorry I was a little bit distracted earlier, but just always trying to help the brand and help spread the word, as it were, and help pick up new people for your business. I mean, even though I'm not under contract, actually, I'm a free agent right now. I'm actually a free agent right now. I just realized that my contract with Madrinas has ended. I haven't signed a new one. I am a free agent. Which reminds me, for some reason, I've been giving you guys like a week or two of free publicity. Like I still have the panel down below. I still have the chat bot. I still have the command. That's so stupid. I'm just selling myself for free.
The whole logo thing, I don't think anybody that's listening to this would have had any idea that was happening before the recording. So yeah, it's all good. You didn't need to apologize for something that happened.
I wasn't apologizing.
You said, "I'm sorry. I'm a little distracted."
When I apologize, I'm not actually apologizing.
Good to know.
It's like one of those ones where you're like, when you're going and you're getting down and dirty, and all of a sudden you see an opening, you go for it. Like, oh, I'm sorry. You knew what you were doing.
What do you mean getting down and dirty? What do you mean that?
You wouldn't know. You
say you're getting down and dirty. Give me a little.
Nothing. Moving on. But by the way, not that you asked, but I'm going to tell you anyways. I have got a new car. I finally got a family. I got the Dadmobile.
We talked about this, didn't we? Didn't we say you got a car like 2 weeks ago?
We talked about it, but we were going in it. But the reason I was moving into it was it wasn't a done deal. It's not a done deal till tomorrow because I had to extend it.
What'd you get?
But let me tell you something. I got the GMC Acadia. But let me tell you something. This experience with Carvana has been an absolute fucking nightmare. Okay? And it's not like, I shouldn't say absolute nightmare because it could have gone a lot worse. But like, I told you they showed up 3 hours late or 4 hours, no, 6 hours late. And I got the car, and then the guy had to use the bathroom in my house. And you didn't see the story about what happened with the delivery driver for the vehicle. Oh my God, I got to send that to you. It's a highlight from my Twitch channel. And that he took a shit in my house, and then on top of that, like there were problems like nicks and stuff, and then I tried reaching out to them, and then they were like whatever, and they're bouncing me around. It's been a pain in the ass, but whatever. It's just a car. Huh?
What color?
I thought I got black, but it was like navy blue, like dark navy blue.
Yeah, I think we have it pulled up right. I think it's that's more like a kind of a green. It looks really good in black, bro. Oh my God, look at this interior. Like, got that third row of seats. This is nice, bro.
I got the 2016 though, so I got a used car. I got the 2016, but it only has, or 2015 or 2016, but it only has 50,000 miles.
Yeah, this is really, really nice. Look at that center
third row,
dash. What
decent,
year is it?
It's decent. 2015, I believe. It's, you know what's fucked up or funny is that it still has a CD player in it. Like I didn't realize like that's people are like, Stocky, you're a thousandaire. Why are you buying old vehicles? Because that's what people with money, they want to keep their money and be smart with it do. You don't buy a brand new car. And this is a great deal because there's only 50,000 miles on it. But the thing is, it was a CD player. So now I got to bust out. I got to start burning CDs. I'm going to download LimeWire again and get some viruses.
Or Kazaa. Or Napster.
No, it was always LimeWire, and you always did it at someone else's house because that way you fucked up their computer and not yours.
Bro, I was 13 when LimeWire was popping off, and that logic that you just said is exactly what one of my best friends at the time used. He would come over, and we would be doing dumb shit things like playing Halo until like 1 or 2 in the morning. And at some point, he would detach from the video games, go onto the computer, and download like an entire directory of porn from LimeWire. And then,
hey, dude.
And then after like maybe a few months of him doing that, the computer got so effed up that what would happen is you'd turn the computer on. It would be on for maybe 10 seconds. And then an absolute hailstorm of porn would fly at you for like 5 to 10 seconds. And then the computer would just shut down. And this was like, remember back like when families had like computer rooms and like you had like one computer or whatever, like for the house. So like there was one day after school, I'm just posted up like, like watching TV. It's like 5 o'clock or whatever. My mom goes, "Oh, I got to go upstairs. I got to print something off." I was like, "Oh shit. I hope she doesn't get on that damn computer." So I'm just like posted up watching TV, nervous as shit. I'm just like, "Oh, I hope she doesn't get on the computer." She was upstairs, and then we kind of like a half story. So she looked over and she goes, after about 2 minutes of being in the computer room, she goes, "Hey, who was the last person to use the computer?" And I go, "I don't know. Maybe it was Justin, my older brother." He goes, "Huh, okay." And then she just went back in, and 2 minutes later came right back down the stairs, deemed that computer was unusable, and she was instantly ashamed of one of her 2 children, probably both, at that point in time. That computer was infested, never to be turned on again, bro. Complete.
It's how it all. It's good. Well, okay, so I never used LimeWire until I was a senior in high school, right? Because I didn't have I grew up in a children's home, so I was a senior in high school. I moved in with my grandparents for my last 6 months of high school before I left for the military, and I had a job and everything. So they left town for a while, and they didn't want me staying in the house by myself. So they put me up with these people that they knew, and it was a lady who worked like 3 jobs, and she had a daughter who was a senior at the same time, massive set of tits, but always had friends over smoking weed and
Thanks
stuff like that.
detail.
And she had a 9-year-old son as well, right? So there's like a 10-year gap. And the 9-year-old son was always on the computer. And he's the one who showed me about LimeWire. And he's like, "Hey, dude, you can." He's like, "You ever want to burn CDs?" I'm like, "Sure." He's like, "Here, get music," whatever like that. And I would burn CDs and music and stuff like that. And I would. It was fun because you would be downloading for an hour and they would find out it was a corrupted file or some shit. It would piss me off. But I would download music and sometimes it was good or like that. And the mom came home one day and she popped into the room and she goes, "Oh, how are you doing?" I said, "Oh, I'm doing good." She goes, "What are you up to?" I said, "I'm just downloading some music on this site or whatever like that." She's like, "Oh, cool, whatever like that." Her son, and I didn't know this, the fucking 9-year-old, and I didn't even live there. I was there once a week or something like that, was downloading porn in like terabytes. Well, not terabytes back then, but like just ungodly amounts of porn. And I guess there was
no
no
9-year-old.
I have no idea. Like, it was 9 or 10. But the thing is like back then there was no filter, right? Like, you could download anything, right? Like weird shit, whatever it was. I don't know. I didn't get into it because obviously I was brand new to it. I was just burning CDs, and I had like my weird mixtape would have like weird too, because it would be like 3 Doors Down, followed by, you know, The Grateful Dead, followed by Sum 41, followed by, you know, Bon Jovi. It was just weird, Eminem and whatever. And I was so proud. And so this woman, after my grandparents come back, goes to them and says that she went on the computer like a while afterwards, and that program was open, and I had been downloading porn on her family computer. I had no fucking clue what was going on. Like, I was like, what are you talking about? And I tried to say, no, it was probably your 9 or 10-year-old kid, but no one would believe me that it was the fucking boy, the 10-year-old kid who was downloading porn. They thought it was me, and that was an awkward situation. But you know what? Here we are today.
I just DM'd you an image that I have pulled up. This is exactly.
No, is it porn?
No, it's not. But it's everything. It's everything else that would happen to your computer.
Madrinas logo?
This is.
Oh.
This is everything that would happen to your computer if you use too much LimeWire. This is just exactly what your desktop looks like.
Was that? Oh. I didn't own a computer until the first. I didn't own a. This is the first desktop computer I've ever owned.
The one that you have right now that you're streaming from?
Well, the one before it, but since I started streaming on the first desktop computer I ever owned.
If you look inside of this image, it says like, congratulations, you've been chosen to receive a free Gateway desktop computer. That like image right there, that's basically what ours looked like as a family. We had it like for like 7 years. It was like ran like Windows 95 or whatever. And you talk about a terabyte, bro. I don't even think it had like a gigabyte of storage on it, man. Like, it was just one of those things where like 3 corrupted files from LimeWire, and then it was done. That was it.
Oh, man.
But yeah.
Oh my God, I just screened over and there's a giant set of M logos in my screen. Speaking of people walking in, but we haven't even gotten to our first story of the day, and we've already gone on a fucking tangent. So yeah, that's fun.
That is very fun, guys. The first story that we wanted to talk about was a story that popped up at dailymail.com. You know, the very reputable source, dailymail.com. It says the Yellow Brick Road to Atlantis. Deep sea researchers spot incredible rock formation while exploring the Pacific Ocean floor near Hawaii. Where's the picture? Look at this damn picture, man. And Austin, shout out to Austin, who literally just sent us this like 5 minutes before we started recording. I love Atlantis. Anything that happened that has anything to do with Atlantis.
God, Sarah showed up. This is fun.
I am all the way all over anything that has to do with Atlantis. Bro, you got to close that thread, by the way. You're going to get yourself all distracted. I just opened
it up because I was looking to see what the original thing he sent. And obviously I posted the new Madrinas logo, and I was laughing as you were. And then he writes, I've typed quite a few messages in response to this, but I'm not quite sure what to say because he was typing for a while. Sarah shows up. What is going on? He goes, still trying to figure it out. He knows damn well what's going on. Don't try to act like that.
You know who has no idea what's going on is the people that are listening to this damn recording right now.
All right, so I was good. You know what? Let's not explain it. All right,
we're not explaining it. We're moving it along.
Back to Atlantis. All right, first of all, there is no Atlantis. Okay, if there was an Atlantis, okay, it doesn't make any sense, and I'll tell you why. True. Because first of all, the Odyssey is a fiction. Okay. Second of all, they said it's the size of a continent. Okay, there ain't no sunken continent out there. I'll be honest with you. I don't know. But if there was an Atlantis, my favorite as of right now, I mean, if I'm being 100% serious, I think Atlantis was the Minoans. Okay, that's my thing. I think it was the Minoans of Crete. It was an island in the middle of the Mediterranean. They all disappeared, and one of the things that happened was there was a lot of ash. They think it was a volcano. Maybe there was another island. It was bigger, and a volcano sunk it. But I think the Minoans, because as we found after excavating over there that like they were very advanced for their time frame, I think that was the Atlantis, and he just kind of embellished it. If it was a giant thing, I'm gonna say, have you seen those circular ring things in Western Africa and the Sahara?
In Mauritania.
Whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah,
maybe that's it.
That's the Rakat structure in Mauritania. You're trying to say there was no Atlantis.
We can't call it a structure. It might be natural.
There is.
I'll tell you what else is
23 miles. It's 20.
Speaking of, is it natural or not? But go ahead.
23. Bro, that record structure is 20. You gotta close it,
Hi,
bro.
babe.
You gotta close it. Move on, bro. You gotta close that.
I'm looking at my portfolio. I'm up
all right. The record structure in Mauritania is 23 miles long. It's not man-made. You're not gonna make anything that's 23 miles long that looks like that. Second off, do you know who Herodotus is? You ever heard of this man? Herodotus, the
Greek
father of history. That's what they call him. They call him the father of history. I'm gonna send you a little picture right here, and then we're gonna pull this picture up for everyone to see. This is the first map of the world. Herodotus drew the first map of the world. And what do you see there on the most western edge, just south of the Pillars of Hercules? Go ahead and tell the people, what are you reading?
Atlantis.
There it is, Atlantis. That happens to also be the very general direction of where Mauritania is.
Yeah, but this motherfucker has the Nile River making a hard 90-degree angle through the fucking Sahara Desert. So just that alone makes me think, okay, maybe he wasn't right.
The Nile used to be different than it is right now. Also, Egypt, there's a case to be made that Egypt used to be very lush with trees and didn't used to just be in the desert, was lush with vegetation. If you look at the Sphinx, the structure of the Sphinx, there's actually sort of some structures set up around it that kind of serve as protection away from running water. So
this is very sus. I'm sorry, but there was no guy in 430 BC, okay, that traveled the whole world. All right, first of all, massage table over there. I don't even know what the fuck that is. Okay,
look at that.
The bacteria river. Okay, you know what is this? This sus. Okay, that's Iraq with the Tigers and Euphrates. Okay, so maybe what happened is he got a bunch of people that traveled from these places and got what they said and put it out there. But notice how he put a question mark and put Atlantis right next to Atlantic Ocean. So I don't know. There's a little bit there
that's not a question mark, bro.
It isn't. What is it? It says question mark Atlantis. What is that then? What is that called?
You see the little structure to the just north of what you think is the question mark? That's just a drawing.
Those are plateaus.
That's just a drawing of rocks, man.
No, there's plateaus up in he's showing mountains in in the Alps. He's showing mountains in the Alps.
You're right. That's a question mark.
I am. I'm talking about the question mark.
That Rakat structure, that even is actually probably more support, because just north of the Rakat structure in Mauritania are these big cliffs, these big like two
mountains.
Yeah, like a big mountainous ridge side with rivers coming down it. That right there is probably what he's talking about.
Rolling hills.
Either way, dude, this article on Daily Mail says the Yellow Brick Road to Atlantis. Deep sea researchers think that they found it in the Pacific Ocean, on the Pacific Ocean floor near Hawaii. Listen, it wasn't near.
Okay, first of all, look at that picture. As somebody who grew up in Hawaii and understands a little bit of volcanic activity, what that looks like is underwater volcanic activity. Lava comes up, it quickly cools, and you have and pohoihoi. In this case, it looks like some pohoihoi. It's probably 1 million years old, and through seismic activity from eruptions and whatever, it's shaken it and cracked it into that shape. Whoever wrote this article is an idiot. Okay. I'm sorry. It is what it is. All right. That's not Atlantis. First of all, if there was an Atlantis, these motherfuckers didn't go to the Pacific Ocean. Okay. Hawaii wasn't even inhabited at that time. All right. That's not it.
I'm sorry, kind of meta for you. I want to kind of get meta on you for a second. You said whoever wrote this article is an idiot, right? Their objective in writing this article was for getting people to talk about it, for getting people to click on it. Here I am. I clicked on it. Here we are. We're talking about it.
We're only here because your guy that works for you that you gave that nice award to was taking a break between finger painting and saw it and was like, "Oh, this is a cool article. Let me read it." And that person sent it to you without doing any research.
So the person that wrote this article, they don't care what you think of them from an intelligence perspective. They just need you to click, because you see all these ads on there happen on the side. They need to juice their ad revenue. Be that as it may, it also said something about the Yellow Brick Road. I'm with you. This doesn't look like anything. This just looks like What'd you say? When the eruption occurs, then like
So when you have in Hawaii, I lost a house to I never told you that story. I watched my house burn down from a lava flow, slow moving lava flow. But what happens is oftentimes when lava gets into the ocean, right, it cools off and it makes all kinds of different like rock formations. And then what happens is the waves break that up, and then that turns into sand, and that's why you have black sand beaches, right? But underground eruptions, and when I was a kid in '95 in Hawaii, there was another island that was forming, and it's still forming because you have what's called the hot spot, right? There's a opening in the mantle that has lava that comes up, and it creates volcanoes, and it creates an island, right? The volcano comes up, and as it's going down, it's building, gets up, and then it creates land. But because the Earth's crust is shifting, and that plate is going under the next plate, it keeps moving, and the new island keeps forming up. So in Hawaii, the big island is the newest island, and Niihau, the last island, used to be giant, but it's slowly sinking at 4 inches a year going towards Japan. So there's another island coming up where the big island used to be as it moves over. With all that being said, underground eruptions the lava comes up and spills out because it's so hot that and there's so much force there that it takes a while for it to cool from the ocean, even at that depth. And what it does is it goes out and makes this long, stretch, right? So then you got this hard, porous, rock that is there for millions of years. And then as eruptions happen and earthquakes happen, it shakes that large amount and it makes cracks. And of course, it's going to crack in that formation. And that's what that looks like.
Well, there you go. You heard it from a former Hawaii resident.
I know what good, these mounds. I know I'm very good at pointing out mounds. So when I see a mound of rock, I know.
You think humans will still be around when you talk about 4 inches a year, right? You think humans will still be around to like see everything, everything change, or you think humanity is going to go away at some point and we're just going to be done?
No, I think we're going to revert and then come back. Like basically what happened to the Atlantans. That's what's going to happen to us.
What comes first, that or people making money on Bitcoin again?
Oh, that's a tough one. Which goes to zero first, the human population or Bitcoin?
Or Bitcoin.
Bitcoin. Probably Bitcoin.
Guys, Fidelity will be allowing retirement savers to put Bitcoin in 401k accounts. Investment giants move could send cryptocurrency investing further into mainstream if employers decide to offer the option. Fidelity Investment plans to allow investors to put a Bitcoin account in their 401ks. Employees won't be able to start adding cryptocurrencies to their nest eggs right away, but later this year, the 23,000 companies that use Fidelity to administer their retirement plans will have the option to put Bitcoin on the menu. The endorsement of the nation's largest retirement plan provider suggests crypto investing is moving further into the mainstream. That is the point in which I don't get any more words in this article because it costs money to access. What else is going on with this? Is there anything else in this article, or is that pretty much it? All of a sudden now you have a 401k, you can put that money into something as volatile as Bitcoin. Is that pretty much the gist?
I mean, it's not. I think as of right now, it's not direct Bitcoin. Like you don't own it. It's more like Bitcoin ETFs. Like there's several of those out there where it's basically like this is an ETF that follows the price of Bitcoin or like the miners of Bitcoin or whatever. Now, this is great as far as the first step to having diversity. Every time I talk about crypto, the crypto bros are just as bad as the AMC and GameStop bros. They come out and say you don't understand crypto and you're just an idiot. And this is it doesn't matter what the value is now because the value of it is based on what the value of fiat is right now, and fiat's all trash. And so you're actually owning something that is digital, and it doesn't matter what it's worth right now because it's bullshit the way that. Okay, fine, I get it. Okay, I get it. All right, I get it. All right, you don't have to say that shit anymore. What I get at is that it is not going to be a currency, a widely distributed or utilized currency or an exchange for goods and services in its current form. It can't be. I mean, El Salvador is fucked, right? It was already a poor fucking country, and now they're even more poor because they went all in on fucking Bitcoin at 60,000. And even though they made it a legal tender and required by businesses there to take it, nobody's fucking using it. Nobody's fucking using it. Nobody wants to use it because it's so volatile. Like we've already had this conversation, but forget that for a second, right? Just for 1 second, let's forget about that. This thing is talking about allowing you to put it in your 401k. Now, if you thought volatility in a 401k was crazy before, now it's going to get even more wild. And the reason I say that is you don't know, right? Like nobody knows. Of course, you could buy stocks and stuff in companies, but you look at the asset. This isn't a currency. You can't do it. If you want to buy Bitcoin, you have to buy it with fiat currency. And then when you want to sell it, you have to sell it and cash it out for fiat currency. regardless of that, I still believe blockchain technology and digital currencies are the future, just not in their current form. I think there's a lot of tweaking and a lot of things that have to change, right? When people went from hard assets to fiat currency hundreds of years ago, everybody thought it was fluctuating, right? Like you saw dollars, inflation, 300% in a month or something like that until it got some stability over time. It's going to happen. But with all that word vomit that I just put out there, the craziest thing is that as of today, the recent Bitcoin crash, as of today, 40% of all Bitcoin holders are now underwater on their investment.
I wonder if those are the populace there, those 40% of investors are all the ones that started investing after all these Matt Damon ads came out that said, hey, get into crypto, the few, the brave, or whatever, like the future favors the bold and all that kind of stuff. I wonder if those are the people that are like, oh man, now I gotta download FTX, I gotta download Robinhood, I gotta use my Cash App and get a bunch of Bitcoin now because it's gonna pop. Once it hits mainstream like that, man, it's kind of inevitable, right? That it's going to plateau in value and some people are going to lose money. I feel like that's just
yes and no. I mean, I always have the saying that if the normies know, it's time to go. But more importantly, what I look at as far as this is that it's an unknown. It's heavily manipulated, and people like to say that I mean, like I said, the best thing about it is the worst thing about it, and that is that it's not regulated, right? Not regulated means it's not centralized. We talk about crypto all the time,
man. We talk about it literally all the time, and it's the same thing every single time. We say the same things about it, and I feel like at the end of the day, there's just going to continuously
go for it. If you want to put Bitcoin and you want to put, you think that Bitcoin itself, not crypto or technology behind it, is the way to go, do it. I'm not going to try and convince you otherwise because number one, I could be wrong. Or number two, you're a grown ass person. If you want to diversify your portfolio with a high risk asset like that, go for it.
What people believe in, I feel like from an investment perspective and really from a more macro perspective, I think where the belief is in the blockchain network as a technology. I feel like that's where
I'm invested in that, and I'm down heavy.
What, just in blockchain?
The companies I'm in Hive, which is Ethereum blockchain, I'm down like 45% on those shares over the past 6 months, and Hut mining, I'm down like 60% on that.
Yeah, but I feel like even then, man, like it's one of those things that people believe in the blockchain for the long term, the 10, 15, 20 years from now future, not the, hey, you're going to make $1 million in the next, 6 weeks type of thing. Like,
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm starting to think, I'm starting to get a little bit more hesitant of that because this bubble has burst. I mean, the stock market hasn't stopped. I mean, today was slightly green, but the NASDAQ is down 25% from its high this year. The Russell 3000 is down like 40%. The S&P is on almost 20%. I mean, and it's still falling because there's nothing from the macro global economic and financial outlook that's positive. Everything is negative right now. Rates going up. The Fed has to decide between recession or stagflation now. There's no getting out of this. We're going into one or the other. And recession probably it. We got new inflation numbers out tomorrow. We got oil probably going to hit 150 barrel minimum this summer. You've got China shut down and the supply chain fucked again. There's thousands and thousands of ships sitting off the coast of China that are waiting to get filled, nothing off the coast of the United States. So we're about to hit the supply chain issue again. I mean, there's a war going on in Ukraine and Russia. There's just nothing positive right now. So the market's probably got another 15% to go down. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
If Stocky can't lift your spirits, guys, if he can't lift your depression and anxiety
with that. Just a realist, man.
Listen, if he can't lift your depression and anxiety with that, perhaps it's time you think about taking a week off of social media because there's some research, according to this article, irishexaminer.com says, hey, a week off social media reduces
depression.
People in
Ireland can read and write? It must be Northern Ireland, sorry.
A week off social media reduces depression and anxiety. And there's research to back it up. So again, if Stocky's outlook on our world, man, you really hit a lot there. You didn't even just talk about like the economic status. You kind of just hit on the social status, like everything. That was doom and gloom, According to you, there's really no point.
And gloom. I'm not fudding. I'm just saying that understand that unless something changes, we don't have a lot in the short term that's positive.
Right, in the short term. The long term, though, man, we know where we're going. Things are going to be good again in the long term.
I'm sorry, what?
What's that?
Nothing.
We'll be fine in the long term. I don't know what you said, but I'll have to re-listen to the recording after this. We're gonna be fine in the long term, man. But in the short term, if you guys are looking for a little bit of relief as far as your depression and your anxiety goes, if that's something that you suffer from, this website says take a break from social media. Take a break from social media for as little as a week, and that can reduce depression and anxiety, according to new research. People who take a break from TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook for 7 days reported an increased sense of well-being. A study by the University of Bath found researchers split a sample of 154 people aged 18 to 72 into two groups, one of which was banned from social media and the other that was not. On average, participants used social media for 8 hours a week. Participants were quizzed on their baseline levels of anxiety and depression and their sense of well-being using 3 recognized tests. They were asked to rate their agreement with statements such as, "I've been feeling optimistic about the future," and "I've been thinking clearly." To measure well-being. To measure depression, participants were asked questions like including, how often during the past 2 weeks were you bothered by little interest or pleasure in doing things? Anxiety was monitored using the General Anxiety Disorder Scale, which asks how often a person is bothered by feeling nervous or on edge or an inability to stop worrying. I feel like this is just like one of those things where people say go outside. You know, I feel like it's one of those things.
Everybody, is standing on their fucking high horse with this. But something. I've watched some of these experiments, and it's actually crazy. You see people go through literal withdrawals. Like people who are always like, they did an experiment where you had to go 72 hours without your phone for like $5,000 or something like that. So they took people who, was it 72 hours or was it 7 days? Maybe it was 7 days for a couple $1,000s, and they locked your phone in a box, and you stayed in a facility that they had, like a warehouse or whatever. They everything you needed, whatever. And people went through like legit withdrawals. Like people were freaking out. They were like, their brain was so wired to always being on their phone and being on social media and being whatever, that it took them, that's where it was, 7 days. It took 72 hours for people to start getting off of it, right? Like getting off of the anxiety and the irritability and stuff. It would look like somebody coming off of a caffeine or a drug addiction, right? Or nicotine addiction. And it's where we're at. I personally, without trying to sound like that, oh, I'm so good, or hey, boomer, whatever, I got off social media years ago. I stopped using Facebook after the whole shit show of the elections after 2012, 2013 into 2016. I noticed everybody I was friends with on Facebook, I didn't fucking know or like, so it didn't matter. I never was into Instagram because it just didn't, I don't take pictures. I don't like taking pictures, and I don't like posting them. It just feels weird. Twitter, I never used before I was a business person because I didn't have anything I needed to say that I felt like the world needed to hear. And that was it. Like, I mean, I just didn't have social media. I didn't use it. And it never was positive. There was never a net positive for using social media. And now I use it just as a brand, and I have to force myself to use it. And I only use it outside of that for news and stuff like that. And my wife,
you just use it for news, right?
well,
tweeted on May 8th,
other than my
2022.
business,
Call your mom or I will.
that's my business. That was engagement for my business. My brand always talks about banging people's mom. So I knew that I would drive engagement by saying, call your mom. It's such a sweet thing to say. And people are like, oh, thanks, Stocky. Then when they open it up, my brand comes out and says, that's my brand. Be nice, and then hit shit on you. And then you open it up and it says, or I will, which drove even. Did you know that ratio, the original tweet, I knew what the fuck I was doing, bro.
No, yeah, you did fine. You did fine. You said what? You got 149 likes on the or I will and 210 on the call your mom. You did fine. I'm with you, bro. Listen, I deal with the same thing. I got off of social media for a little while, and
you got off her before the show too.
I got I got off of social media for a little while, and because of what we do with Madrinas, we're such a
okay, go on.
We're such a digitally native brand where we do all of our brand building and all of our promoting online. Like, you have to know. I mean, it's a CPG. You have to know how to market in this, in our current world. So you got to be what the consumers are. You got to see the trends. You got to understand how people are talking to each other, how people are communicating. So you need to be dialed in, like what you're talking about for business reasons. If we didn't have Madrinas, I don't think I probably would ever use social media. It feels so much better, honestly, to just be disconnected from it, be only connected to the people that are in your, in your world, like in your actual world, and the people that you see and you make time for, like in real life.
There's nothing wrong with being on social media all the time. I just feel like what it ends up doing is forget the addiction, right? Like, as somebody who drinks caffeine and used to smoke cigarettes and do all this stuff, I am no place to talk about addiction, right? So I'm not here to judge anybody for that. But what I do find the biggest problem with is it gives people this unrealistic expectation of what their life should be or what other people's lives are. And it's the whole, I tell my wife all the time, people only put their highlight reel out there. And you get this idea that this person is living their best life, or this person's doing this, and you're not adequate, and therefore you need to spend more or do more, or it puts you into a depression thinking, why is my life not as good as that? Well, I'm over here feeding the baby and cleaning the house, and I'm not sleeping well, but this person's in the Bahamas and Tahiti, and their kid looks like they're cute, and they're at the fall festival. But that's because they only put their highlight reel out there. But it drives this unrealistic expectation, and I see it from my wife all the time. She goes, oh my God, I saw so-and-so, and there's a picture of them, at the Joshua Tree National Park, and they're camping. Oh my God, they live their lives. And I'm like, he's probably an alcoholic. She's probably fucking the neighbor, and their kids probably hate them. You don't know that. You just see this picture out there. And so, that's what I get at.
Two things. One, I don't actually have, I think it's very possible to have like virtual relationships with people. So there's a difference between just like being on your computer or being on your phone versus just consuming social media. I think it's very possible for people to spend quality time with each other, talking to each other in Discord, or playing games with each other across the world. I think it's a very cool way to stay in contact with people and foster relationships. I think it's the just scrolling and just consuming stuff mindlessly and not challenging your brain really. I think that's the type of stuff that can start to eat away. It's got this kind of like what you were just talking about, this sort of like pervasive level of anxiety that it can drive in people. But more than anything, man, if you think about, if you're on social media, what you're not doing is you're not exercising in that moment. You're not, if you're just scrolling on Twitter, scrolling on Instagram, and you do that, let's say you do that 5 hours a day, if you even reduce that by half and then take half of that time that was available to you to go exercise or spend time walking outside or something like that, those endorphins are naturally going to lift your spirits and make you feel a little bit better. You got
to get out first. And I'm going to tell you something right now. This actually brings up something. I work out a little bit, right? Like, I don't work out like I used to. Like, a couple years ago, I was in the gym every day, and then even a year ago, I was back working out. I still work out a bit. I do push-ups and I lift some weights and stuff like that. But let me tell you something. If you've taken a break from cardio for a couple years, you need to ease into that. I bought a bike. I bought 2 bikes about 3 months ago, and I put them together and never used them. But I was like, all right, let me do whatever. So my wife was taking her in-laws to the store, and I was like, you know what? I bought one of those little seat things for a toddler in the back. I got a helmet for me and my daughter. I filled up the air on the tires. I'm like, listen, you guys go to the store. I'm gonna ride, half a mile to the dog park and let her play. I get on the bike. Okay. And it's me. It's 96 degrees outside, and I got a 30-pound fat-ass toddler. She's not fat. She's muscle, but it sounds better. I made it a quarter of the way there before I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe. Like, I was like, like I thought I was going to die. And I'm not like chubby. I'm not out of shape per se. I don't smoke cigarettes anymore. I vape, but I don't smoke cigarettes anymore. I have lung capacity. I had to start... And I got off, and then I started pedaling again. I had to get off the bike and stop, and my toddler's looking at me like, what's wrong, Daddy? I had to stop 3 times in a half a mile to the thing, and I get off, and I'm dying. I drink the whole Gatorade, and then I got a bike back, and I'm like, oh, shit. I almost had to walk the bike back. Like, I was in that much pain. It was insane. So, ladies and gentlemen out there, listen. Practice your cardio first, okay? Do your own solo bike ride for around the block. Then the next day, do 2 reps, right? Okay, just don't jump into it because I was not prepared for that. So
the article says those who took a 1-week break from social media saw their well-being climb from an average of 46 to 55 on the Warwick-Edinburgh mental well-being scale, and then it says levels of depression in this group dropped from 7.4 to 4.8 on the patient health questionnaire 8, while anxiety fell from 6.9 to 5.9. I guess ultimately, I just feel like there's maybe some direct impacts, but I feel like there's some direct, like, if you think about the economy of your energy, if you're not spending time on social media, you're doing other things. Like, you might be exercising, you might be, cooking for yourself, like making healthier food instead of going to, grab Taco Bell or grab Burger King or something like that. Like, it seems to me like it most likely is the indirect impact of being off of social media versus the direct impact that social media has on your brain. You know what I mean? They always say things like,
why not just have synthetic energy then? Caffeine or cocaine?
Listen, just drink coffee.
What about both?
Just drink coffee. And if you're Nestle, you might be in a situation where you accidentally get both, because more than half a ton of cocaine was discovered hidden in a shipment of coffee beans at an espresso plant in Switzerland. Guys, this article on Business Insider says that Swiss police said Thursday they have seized more than 500 kilos of cocaine that was concealed in inside a shipment of coffee beans. Workers at an espresso plant alerted the authorities on Monday to the presence of the mysterious white powder that was discovered when they were unloading bags of beans from Brazil. The entire shipment was blocked and seized by the police as part of the investigation. Espresso said in an emailed statement to Insider, "The substance in question did not come into contact with any of our products or production equipment used to make our products. As a police investigation is underway, we cannot share more details." Could you imagine if they accidentally ran like a bunch of their pods or whatever, of their little Nespresso pods, and like it got in there?
If you hear the headline, they found or discovered half a ton, there was a ton. Okay, they admitted to half a ton.
Please,
okay,
no, the police grabbed the other half, and
exactly. But this actually reminds me of a true story that happened when I worked at a hotel. So I used to run a hotel on Ocean Drive in South Beach, a little shitty hotel. Well, it wasn't shitty. It was a little boutique hotel, but it was kind of run down. It was called the Bentley, right? It was right there on 5th and Ocean. It was above the TGI Fridays. And I used to manage it. And, you get a lot of people in there, sometimes good, sometimes bad. This is back before Miami Beach went to total shit. But we had a family staying on the second floor. I'll never forget. The room was room 210. It was an oceanfront, and it was a whatever. And the family came to me late at night as they got in, and the lady said, "Excuse me, can you come to the room, please?" And I was like, "Okay, let me see what's going on there." And I go into the room, and the family's there. And she said, "We were making some coffee, and as I pulled out the filter, I pulled a little hard, and this fell out." And it was a envelope that had been cut in half and wrapped up, and there were about 7 or 8 small crack rocks in it.
Oh my God.
Okay. Now, imagine being the only person working in the hotel late at night, because there was only one person at night. That was the front desk person. Like, we had no housekeepers. We had no, you were on your own, and I fucking hated that. But you're looking at this family. I mean, what do you do? Like, you gotta realize that if she hadn't pulled harder and when she put in the thing and she did the drip and it dripped through there, imagine the scenario where the hot water melts down the crack cocaine into the coffee, into the pot, and her family and kids or whatever have coffee, and now they're cracked out. Like, how do you what do you do as a hotel, as a manager, right? Like, obviously you just tell them, hell yeah, let's party, but in the morning you don't know what's going to happen. And so I was thinking about that when you just said that story. So obviously, I apologize and I comp them a night or whatever like that. But yeah, listen.
What'd you do? What'd you say? What was your disposition like? Were you shocked?
Well, first of all, you didn't admit that it's crack cocaine. You don't know what it is. It could be anything, right? Like, you can't just say, "Oh yeah, that's crack cocaine." Like, you can't. First of all, you don't know, and second of all, you're not going to say that, right? Because then you're really fucked. If you're like, "Oh, I'm not sure what that is. It could be anything. I do apologize. You know what? Let me take this coffee maker out and get you a new one, and we'll follow up in the morning." Okay. I mean, that's all you can do. And then in the morning, obviously I was the manager at the time, so I was back in the morning. I talked to him and I said, "Listen, I don't know what it is and I can't test it. It could be anything. It could be candy. It could be, somebody playing a prank on one of their friends or whatever like that. But regardless, listen, that the standards of the room are not, it's not up to standards. It should have been cleaned. And, regardless, for that, I'm going to go ahead and comp you your resort fees or something like that," which was like $28.95 a day times 4 days. So it was like $100, and give them free breakfast their entire time in the morning. Because here's the thing, let me tell you a little secret about businesses. You want to comp them with stuff that is pure profit and not stuff that goes to the bottom line on your EBITDA. So like, for example, you had to pay whatever. And so these were just pure profits that came in. So you had to just kind of like clear it there, and it worked. And then you start with the lowest, and then if they don't like it, you move up. Because here's the thing, when it comes to negotiations, you never start high, because that's your bottom. You know what I mean? So if you start high in negotiation, the other person looks at you as that's their bottom. So you always start low, and even if it's ridiculously low, and then you work up from there. You can't work back. So that's what I did. But yeah, there you go. But tell you what, that would have been some damn good coffee.
It would have done a weird sort of trick on a family.
I almost want to go out and buy some espresso, like a little bit every day for the next month, just to see what happens.
Police analyzed the powder and said that it was 80% pure and destined for the Euro market with an estimated street value of $50 million. Transactions in the physical commodities market, like coffee, can be extremely difficult to trace, according to Bloomberg Commodities. expert Javier Baez. Hey, this might be something that AMC wants to get involved in futures. Getting into the futures or the coffee commodities market. How is that going, by the way? They still heavily positioning themselves in gold. I don't know why it made me think of this.
I don't even want to talk about it. I actually went over on stream today. They've been getting absolutely destroyed.
AMC has been.
And all the tweets from people, or not tweets, but all the comments on the YouTube videos calling me like an idiot, and this isn't going to age well, and you're dumb, and you work for the hedge funds and shit like that. But there's been nothing since then because they've been absolutely destroyed. It's not that I want them to get destroyed. I mean, yeah, I was betting against them, but not because I want them to go down, just because it made sense to me. It's not that I don't want people to be successful. I just want people to be realistic, and it's like a cult following. Like, these people are putting their entire life savings in this belief that this thing is going to go to $1,000, and they won't take any other opinion into consideration because they're that desperate and they're that into it. And it's like, it's sad. And all I can do is put the information out there.
Sometimes companies hard pivot, man. You know what I mean? Like, alcohol companies during Prohibition had to start selling ice cream. A movie theater company during COVID has to start investing in gold. Companies change, man. Things change over time. And probably nothing more crazy to read. Apple discontinuing the iPod, bro. The thing that literally put Apple back on the map, because they were on the map and then they kind of fell off. And then the thing that put them back on the map, the iPod.
When the hell did Apple fall off? Can you please explain that comment to me?
Well, when they didn't have Steve Jobs, man. When in between
they
Jobs,
didn't fall off.
During the 90s, man.
Did Samsung all of a sudden like become a big thing?
During the 90s, Microsoft was king, and then Apple said, "Listen, we are going to be the innovators for consumer
That's fine,
tech."
but when did Apple fall off? Like, I'm not okay. I get that's when they took over from Microsoft. When did Apple fall off? I'm trying to explore this for a second.
The 90s, Microsoft was king, bro.
We talked about the iPod, which was after the 90s.
And
okay, so you're now going back.
And
then you said
Apple was great in the 80s.
Fell off.
Apple was great in the 80s. The 90s was the generation for Microsoft.
Well, you're talking about before the iPod. We're talking about the iPod.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying that when the iPod was the thing that brought Apple, back to the sort of king position of consumer tech. And the iPod was, when it launched, man, that was the thing. We're
spending too long on this.
It was disruptive. It was innovative, and it's gone. As of now, as of May 10th, Apple comes out and says they are discontinuing the iPod. So
I didn't realize they still sold them.
They've still sold like whatever, like the iPod, like the real thin ones. I guess it's kind of like I guess it's been like an iPhone but without the phone function. Apple said Tuesday it would discontinue the production of the last iPod model. It still sells, effectively bringing an end to the iconic product line that helped usher in a new era for the music industry and the tech giant. Apple said customers can continue to purchase an iPod Touch device while supplies last. The company also noted that customers can now listen to their favorite songs from a range of other Apple devices, including the iPhone, iPad, and Apple Watch. Music has always been a part of our core at Apple, and bringing it to hundreds of millions of users in the way iPod did impacted more than just the music industry. It also redefined how music is discovered, listened to, and shared. Today, the spirit of iPod lives on. Greg Joswiak, Apple Senior Vice President, said, touting how the music experience ushered in by the iPod has been integrated across all of our products. That's what I'm talking about, man. It says first introduced by Apple's co-founder and then CEO Steve Jobs in 2001, the iPod helped kick off Apple's tremendous success with handheld devices. That was the thing, man. That was the thing that brought them all this new sort of like era of success. And the iPod drew customers with its signature scroll wheel and the initial promise of holding up to 1,000, blah, 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 blah. It's a big deal, man. Big deal. But sayonara iPod. We were talking about Livewire before. Livewire was what you used to juice your iPod, bro.
LimeWire.
What did I say?
Livewire.
Oh yeah, no, LimeWire. Yeah, LimeWire was what you used to juice your iPod up with all the songs and everything like that. And you had some weird tracks that came in. Sometimes, high quality or low quality. You never knew what you're getting with LimeWire, but it all went right here on your iPod, man. It's going away. It's kind of an end of an era.
It is. I mean, I obviously have a story for everything. I never owned an iPod, but when I was in Afghanistan, a guy that I was deployed with had an iPod, and it was one of those thick ones, right? And this was 2006, and he worked the day shift. I worked the night shift. So when he would get off, he would give me his iPod, and he had a lot of songs on there. But I would always listen to the American Idiot soundtrack he had downloaded from Green Day. And when I would do my patrols, the patrols would last almost exactly, unless there was like some kind of crazy shit that happened or we had a delay or something happened. It would literally last 4 minutes less time on average than what the record was. And so it was almost like when you got to that last song, you knew you made it. You know what I mean? Like it became it became like a habit for me. Like I always thought about that. Like I'm not like, oh man, I want to meet Green Day and be like, man, thanks for that. Fuck that, whatever. But the thing was, it was just so cool because I used to listen to it nonstop because we would start it, I would turn it on, I'd put the headphones in, get behind the 240, and we would do the patrol. And it was almost the exact time frame of what we were supposed to. And if nothing happened and we made it, it was almost like a sigh of relief. Like that last song came on, I knew we made it, you know? So that was really cool. That's the only time I've ever used an iPod. I've always been behind on technology just because I was either poor or didn't know what any of this shit was. But, you know, it is an end of an era. And listen, iPods were massive. I mean, it was awesome because so many people, I remember, I'm probably dating myself here, but I still remember when I had the visor above my car with all the CDs in it, and I had the CD,
a little black book thing that you opened up, and it's got all
then I had the CD, the Walkman or whatever you called it, the portable CD player, and every time you'd put it in your pocket and move, it would skip, and you used to hate it. Then the biggest fucking scam of all time, and I bought one, was the CD cleaner. The CD cleaner. That was the biggest scam of all time, was the CD cleaner. Like it would clean the scratches or whatever, when you could just literally just and do that. All it did was it just buffed it out, and it was such a scam. But then I remember that, and then I remember the game changer. The game changer for me was because I couldn't afford cars that had CD players in them, and it cost too much money to go to Walmart and buy the CD and then have it installed. Is I had a tape deck, and the game changer was the portable CD player that had the wire that went to the tape, and you put the tape in there, and you had to play your CD through that. That was my game changer. So because I was poor, I had to go around. I didn't have the $150 for a fucking steel. And then I'll never forget the late 90s, early 2000s when everybody was spending. I worked at Walmart at the time, and everybody would go in there and buy these fucking boxes for speakers, and everyone would. There was just amplifiers and wires, and everybody would try to like make the big bass and shit in the back of their car. It was so ghetto as shit, but it was funny.
iPod's going away. I mean, honestly, it feels like it's probably been gone for a long time. I'm with you. I actually am kind of shocked that they were still selling these. But listen, that's a noteworthy thing. The past 20 years, I feel like the iPod kind of kicked off like all of this new consumer tech that we have. So sayonara iPod. What else, man? What else has been going on in the freaking world? Which of these stories do we want to hit on? We're running out of time. The last story I think that we need to hit on is the moving. But you pick one of these five, and then that can be our last one.
I mean, I think that, you know, we should have a thing. Let's take this moment to waste more time. We should have a thing where if there's a story we really want to get to, but we don't get to it, we should have a little like chart or a little like a new page in here where we just add that for like future stuff when we run out of stuff to talk about or whatever. Like, for example, Americans fleeing. I would love to talk about that, but we don't have the time to get into it. So that's what it is. Tom Brady, I'm done talking to him. Tesla recalling. Nobody gives a shit. Tesla does a recall. 130,000 vehicles means nothing. Doctor Strange 2. Cool story, but not really that big. But Kentucky Derby was fucking awesome. And the reason I say that is I did my first ever IRL stream, like full-time IRL stream this past weekend on Friday, and I was with Jake and Bake Live. He was down here sponsored by a car company for the F1, and we got together and I went and he taught me about some cars like that, and then we just went out and we his girlfriend and I, we all hung out. It was a fucking hilarious stream, some great moments, and we had a good time. But when we got done in Little Havana, like, what do we do now? And so we were just kind of figuring out what we're going to do. And somebody said, let's go to the casino. And I was like, nah, I gamble all the time. But we made a comment, and this was Friday. I said, let's just go there and throw $100 on the biggest long shot at the Kentucky Derby. Like, that was just a little joke of what we should do. And it's funny too, because that was an 80-1 horse and came back and, it actually would have won by a lot more if it didn't get boxed out on its way up. But 80-1 came from the back of the pack all the way to win at the end. The biggest upset in Kentucky Derby history since the 93-1 or 91-1 odds winning of the horse in 1913. But that was insane. $100 would have paid you $8,000 on that horse, which is insane. So that was kind of cool. It was awesome to see that, and the stock actually moved. And you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I've always had a mixed feeling about horse racing and greyhound racing, especially in South Florida with greyhound racing, because a lot of those animals get abused and they're not taken well care of, and you just never know. Now, these horses aren't, because they're very expensive, right? Like, I mean, they're $250,000. They eat the finest food. They're taken care of. They're massaged. They're oiled down. So like, they're good and they run it. But I always thought about the greyhounds, right? Like, greyhounds, nobody cared. It was just like, all right, it's just a bunch of fucking dogs that run fast. Just throw them in a kennel and just run them out there. And if this one wins, then we put them in a bigger kennel until the next race or whatever. It kind of felt like a fucking, fight club kind of thing. So I was kind of glad when they got rid of it, because I felt bad for those dogs, but the horses I didn't. But yeah, that was badass. It's kind of like the last time I remember this much excitement was when Smarty Jones won. And the reason I remember Smarty Jones was not just because he was a long shot, but because I was on my way either to or from Afghanistan. I think I was on my way to Afghanistan, and I was in the airport waiting to get on our next plane. And I walked by and there was a bar filled with people, and Smarty Jones was racing. It was the second leg of the Triple Crown, and he won. And I think he ended up not winning. I think he lost the last one, the Preakness or whatever the last one is. And Smarty Jones didn't win the Triple Crown, but that was the last horse I actually remember the name was Smarty Jones.
Yeah,
I go on these fucking tangents. You should shut me up.
Listen,
dude.
I liked listening. The Kentucky Derby was awesome this past weekend. Also, the F1 down there in Miami was a massive event. People projected that to be the largest, to have the largest economic impact of any sporting event in the history of Miami-Dade, and that includes the Super Bowl. So the F1 event was a big, huge, massive deal. I think 250,000 people traveled for it. But I
live 10 minutes from it, so I'm just glad that it didn't affect me too much.
The Kentucky Derby is awesome, man. I love watching the Kentucky Derby every single year. I love putting on the race. I've never been, the hats, the mint juleps, whatever. I've never done any of that, but I always love watching the race. 80-1, man. 80-1's a big deal. That horse, bro, is gonna live the best life from here on out. That horse forever. People are gonna pay for that horse to have sex with all sorts of other horses, produce all these.
Imagine getting paid to have sex.
That's what this horse is. The rest of it, he's gonna eat the best food.
Your mom doesn't have to.
Best living conditions. Best living. That was a reach. It was a kind of a setup. You kind of like threw an alley-oop to yourself.
I wasn't even thinking about it until it just popped in my head.
It was kind of a reach. But that horse, man, is gonna live the best life forever. Eat all the best food, have sex with all sorts of other horses that are just going to literally show up for it to have sex with, just so they can produce maybe, hopefully, another horse that can do what it does in the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, but do you really think an 80-1 odd horse who had only won the only race it ever won was the qualifier for this, got put last minute and then just won, is really the one that they are going to like breed forever? Like, don't you think he has to win a few more before they think, okay?
No, the Kentucky Derby, man, that's it. It's like the Rose Bowl. Like, you win the Kentucky Derby, you're in. That horse is in. The rest of its life, people are going to be seeking out his genes. All these horses are like 3, right? How long does a horse live? To be like 15 years old or something like that. Like that horse.
Horses live like to be 30 or something.
Whatever it is, that they put in a little bit of work at the beginning of their life. Obviously, it's been pretty grueling. They're training it, getting it ready for now. And then once they get done with this Triple Crown stuff, obviously
25 to 30 years.
Wow. So this horse is going to race for, in the Preakness and in the Belmont Stakes, finish off the Triple Crown. Obviously, probably isn't going to win all of them, but nonetheless, man, like this horse. Now, for the next 28 years, 27 years, just the best life.
I hate to be the Debbie Downer, but can I make it really depressing about this real quick?
You were doom and gloom earlier about the stock market and about the world. So
you
this
think
is on brand for this.
For every good there's an equal and opposite reaction. There are male horses out there that they will not let breed with the females, but will use to check to see if the female is in heat or not. So they will take these horses, get them They're all skinny and they're not well taken care of. I mean, maybe they're taken care of, but nobody cares about them. And they bring them to the female horses to see if the female horse is in heat and like is like presenting herself for it. And this horse is all hard and she's presenting herself and he's like, I'm gonna fuck. And then they take him out and bring in the stud and he fucks her and this dude just goes and masturbates or whatever the fuck. He didn't even get to jack off. Like, you want to talk about blue balls? Think about being that guy and still not get. You live in a perpetual blue ball state, man. That's
torture.
Is who you don't want to be. If I'm that horse, just fucking turn me into meat in Haiti or something.
Put me down.
I'm gonna spend all day putting my hooves in the goddamn fence and just trying to break my legs so I can get taken down.
Put me down. All right. We'll get everyone out of here, but before we do, we have our last two segments. Stocky's random rant, which he had a rant and then he forgot about. I had a lot of rants, and I had a good one, and then we started talking about the new Madrinas logo, and obviously my head went somewhere else. But there's a lot of things that I want to get off my. I didn't say which one. And so the thing is I want to get a lot off my mind. Okay, I want to get a lot off my mind, and I could spend all day doing it. But here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make this one short, and I'm gonna make this one quick. Okay, all right. When it comes to customer service, okay, and I'm not trying to be a boomer here. I'm not saying, I miss the good old days when you used to walk in and talk to a person, or you called and talked to an individual that lived in the same county as you, and now I'm talking to Abdul or some shit. I'm not that guy, okay? But let me tell you something, all right? This automated shit has to get fixed. Let me tell you something. We talk about AI, right? AI robots and how we have AI talking to each other, and we have robots that you can have sex with, and robots that will clean your house, and robots that will cook your meals, and all this shit going on, and all this AI technology in space. That's all good and great. But when the fuck are we going to utilize that where people need it? Nowadays, and I get that there's more people and where people are cost cutting and shit like that, but when I call and I have to listen, you don't give me the option to talk to somebody right away, hit this. No, I have to listen to 65 different things. Halfway through, I've zoned out, and then I realize I probably missed what I needed. Then I have to hit repeat, go halfway through it again, hit that one. Okay, all right, no. Hit that one. Then that sends me to another menu, and I have to do the whole process over again. Then I have to go to another menu. And let's say I get through it and I've yelled, I've talked, and they finally misunderstand me. They understand me, the computer, whatever, and I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. It's been 30 minutes. And then finally it goes, let me connect you to someone. It connects me to someone, and they immediately hang up. How is that legal? How do I spend 30 minutes to an hour fighting a fucking robot that doesn't, a fucking VCR from the 80s to get to a person, and they immediately go click? Oh, okay. How is that allowed? How is that possible? You got a button mash. When you detect a robot and a chain of robot commands.
What are you in 1970?
You have to button mash, hit 0, anything, scream agent. I am with you. There's nothing that drives me crazier than having to
talk. Then what happens when it says it connects you and they fucking put you on hold, and then it stays on hold for 10 minutes? 10 minutes, and then clicks off.
I'm fine
with
hold.
What do you do? Where is the fail-safe?
I'm fine with hold if it connects me to a human that I can talk to and have a conversation with. Obviously, what you just described.
You spent 30 minutes getting to a person. You get to the person. They put you on hold. Your expected wait time is X amount of times. You wait that 10, 20 minutes, and then it just disconnects.
Yeah, that's sucky. But that's like an isolated event. That doesn't.
No, it happens 1 out of every 10 times, which is way too many times.
Sure. Yeah, but like the larger problem is the chain of like. You can't be productive with a robot, man. It sucks so bad.
You want to bet? I can.
It sucks so bad being stuck in that chain of commands with them. You could be so productive with a person, but a robot, I'm with you. Listen, I'm also of the belief that we need to be kind to the robots because they're going to record all these conversations, and when they take over, they're going to take stock of who is kind to them. So listen, robots, I'm on your side. I'm on your side. Last segment, guys, and then we'll get you on out of here. Stocky on or Stocky unread. Stocky has over 500 missed. Stocky unread. Stocky has over 500 missed text messages dating back.
The last one that I got that I still haven't read was from my wife.
That was the most recent.
That's what I'm saying. The last one, like the most recent one.
Did she text you while we were recording, or was that from?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
She said, "Close your door, please." I didn't close my door. You know what I did? I'm gonna text back, and I'm gonna say to her, I'm gonna look her right in her eyes. I'm gonna text her. I'm gonna say, bitch. It's my house. All right, let's go. Let's go back
this
in
is my
time.
man cave.
Let's go back in time.
I'm in my man
right.
cave.
I don't have a fucking man cave. I live in Florida.
Guys, Stocky unread. He's got over 500 missed text messages dating back to 2018. So, Stocky, what do you got for us? What was the most recent unread text message? One of these times, you're going to have to just respond.
This is from 2018. And this is when I first started using Twitch, and somebody found my number. And they said, hey. I said, hi, who's this? And they said, just a fan. And I go, excuse me? They said, check your DMs on Twitter. Open them up for people. I said, what? And then they just sent me, Disney ran a full $1. Ha 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 ha. That's $2 now. Ha 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 ha. Holy shit. I still don't know who this person is.
Don't respond. Don't respond to that person. You have no idea what kind of can of worms you open up when you respond to that person. Bring that up on stream tomorrow. Let's see if you can ID who the person was. Maybe it was Toxie. Remember Toxie showing up to your house with soup? Maybe it was Toxie.
Oh, somebody said something. Oh, I saw another one from somebody else that mentioned. Oh.
Guys, thank you all for being here. This is the Stock Guy and Alex Show. This was episode 24.
Wait, they sent me a picture of somebody holding a hairless rat.
That same person did?
Yeah, look at this picture.
No. This is the podcast that covers topics around the world.
It's actually a hairless rat. That's a woman holding her pet hairless rat.
Markets, money, and sports. Guys, the people are talking about it. So do we.
What is the problem? Do you hate animals?
I'm not looking over there. Stock Guy and Alex Show can be watched, listened, and viewed on YouTube and Spotify. Guys, follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, all the major socials.
It's legitimately just a hairless rat. What is wrong with you?
And we will see y'all in 1 week. Stocky, what's final words? Final words for the people.
Why do you hate hairless rats, man? Or is it that there's a woman in the picture? Are we back on this I hate women thing?
We were never on an I hate women thing.
I don't know. We did off stream. You apparently, in your business. Tell Austin I said hi and to get working on the new logo. Also, people are sending me DMs laughing, saying ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. It's a screenshot of the Madrinas partners. And they said ha 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 ha. Stocky has been moved all the way to number 3. Toast and Summer are ahead of him.
Shout out to Disguised Toast and shout out to Somerset, 2 incredible Madrinas partners. Also, shout out to the Stock Guy. His brand is to be the black sheep of whatever it is that he's involved with. So, Stocky, you want to be the black sheep of Madrinas partners? There you go. You can have that position. Stocky's words, not mine. All right, guys, we'll see y'all next week. One love.